Hey, hey, hey. Happy Monday to you. This is your girl, Coach O, founder and CEO of Action Speaks Volume Incorporated, where I am known as your procrastination strategist, your behavior change expert, where I help you to build unshakable confidence, stop procrastinating, and you got it. Get your dreams out of your head into your life. I pray that you have had an amazing day. You know that your Monday has been awesome, that it has been amazing. And no matter what you have to go through, no matter what you go through, what you face, it really does not stop if your day can be amazing, because amazing. Good evening, Mary. Thank you so much for joining. It is in you. So we don't have to find it or look for it outside of ourselves, because it is in us. And I know, it's hard sometimes when we are facing things that are outside of us, but you got to dig deep from within and still have an amazing day despite the things that are going on around you. You see what the title of this live feed is. Lost is really not a loss, baby, because you got the lesson. Hey, Mary, thank you so much for joining. Lost is really not a loss because you got the lesson. So we want to take the lesson and leave the pain. No matter how bad a thing may hurt us, no matter how we may feel it disappoint us, it doesn't matter, if it does not meet our expectations. We want to look at the equal and opposite, because we know that the law of polarity said there is always an equal opposite. So there's an equal opposite. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the benefit and the blessing in this? And I know somebody is saying, how in the world can I find the benefit and the blessing when I'm having a problem? But I remember somebody in the book that I read says, count it all joy. You have to count it all joy. He didn't say count some of it joy. He didn't say count it joy sometimes, but we count it all joy, because we know that the good is going to outweigh the bad. And so we're going to have a mixture of it, but in the end, the good is going to win. So you have to take the lesson and leave the pain, and, just go through the process knowing that in the end, it's going to work out for your good. It's going to work out for your good, but it's going to work out for God's glory, because He is going to bring you out. And that's what I like about it, because when you can see that on the other side of what you had to go through, on the other side of what you experienced, you see that you're out. It didn't seem like it when you was in it. It didn't seem like you were going to make it to the other side. But look at you now. You're here. You made it to the other side. So I want you to really think about, you take the lesson and you really leave the pain of the thing that tried to take you out, that tried to bring you down, that tried to, the thing that thought that it was going to be the last of you, but you're still here. And so I'm just super excited, with the things that I've been working on. I've been missing you all, but at the same time, I've been grinding. Good evening, Anthony. Thank you so much for joining. I've been grinding, and we have to step back in order for us to step up. We cannot keep doing the same thing thinking we're going to get a different result. We know that is the definition of insanity. So we're going to have some lifelong lessons that's going to hurt us to the core. But there's a lesson in it. There's a blessing in it. We can find something good out of it. We can get something good out of it. We have to stop thinking that everything was meant to hurt us, to bring us down, to take us out. That thing that tried to bring you down, that thing that thought it was going to take you out, miss hearing you full speed ahead. Yes, glad to hear you. Glad to see you here today. That thing that tried to take you out, you can say, I'm still here. I am still here, despite what I'm having to go through, despite the diagnosis, despite what they said, despite what they are doing. I am still here. And when we realize that, joy, peace and happiness and all those different sorts of types of things, it's not out there. It's in us. Good evening, Brother Warren. Thank you so much for joining. What we need, we already have it. So we have to take the lessons and learn from them. Learn from the lessons of the things that are being said. Learn from the lessons from the things that are being done. Learn from those things. Learn from them. Don't allow them to take you out and to take you down. Don't allow them to bring you down. I want you to really, really, really take the lessons and leave all the pain. Because a loss is really not a loss. A loss is a lesson, baby. When you have a lesson, you got to gain. Listen, when you have a lesson from what you have learned, when you have learned from the lesson, you got to gain. You left there with more than you came with. You won't leave here like you came, in Jesus' name. So you have to remember, there's a lesson in all of it. There's a lesson and a blessing in all of it. Sometimes we're blessed to see people's real personalities. We're blessed to see that people are really not for us. Sometimes it hurts when you see it. It hurts when it first happened, but then in the end, you see the blessing of it. That it could have been worse. It could have been worse. You always have to look at the thing that you encounter, experience, go through. It could be worse, and we're still here to tell about it. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. So we want to take the lesson, take the lesson, take the lesson. We want to stop staying in the place, in the pain. Let's stop waddling in the things that hurt us. Let's stop looking at it so much. Let's stop talking about it so much. What we want to talk about more, we want to talk about what we learned. We want to talk about what we gained. We want to talk about where we grew. We want to talk about now what we know. Because how many of you know that it is not just about what we know, it's what we do with what we know. It is what we do with what we know. We want to not only learn, but we want to apply the things that we are learning. We want to apply the lessons that we learn. That's why we should not be repeating the same thing, because we learn. We learn. And when you learn, you can go and pass a test. See, you get it out of your head, and it's not head knowledge, but it becomes heart knowledge. It becomes a part of you. Well, now you know what to look for. You know how to move. You know how to operate. You know how to do the things that you do. Good evening, Shakita. Thank you so much for joining. So we take the lessons that we learn and we apply them. We apply them. We apply them. We apply the lessons that we learn. Now we're able to move to the next level because we've learned some things, right? We can no longer tell ourselves that I didn't know. I might not have known before I learned this lesson, but now I know. I know. So I want you to take the lesson and leave the pain. Don't give the power to the person that tried to hurt you. Don't give the power to the persecutor. Don't give the power to the one that thought that they was going to bring you out. What you need to do is take that lesson and you leave the pain and you go and apply what you learned and you watch how they help you. How many times have you seen where the thing that people meant for your bad, it turned out to be for your good? It always worked out in your favor because it's for your good. It was always for your good. There was always a lesson in the plan. Nothing just happened. Nothing just happened. Everything happens for a reason. And there was a reason in the reason that thing happened. And there was a lesson that was learned. There was a lesson being taught. Now, we have to know that lessons are taught. Lessons are taught. We get lessons by many ways. 3 in particular. They're either caught, bought, or taught. So how are you learning? How are you learning? Again, they're either taught, bought, or caught. You learn lessons because they are taught. You learn lessons because you see them. You learn lessons because you make some mistakes and it costs you. But however you got the lesson, you take it and you apply it. you use it. You go and use the things that you have learned through your hardships, through your hurts, through your disappointments, through those things that you expected to, pan out one way and they did a 360. They didn't turn out the way you thought, the way you planned, the way you wanted, the way you desired, the way you wished. That's okay. However it turned out, you take those lessons and you leave the pain. Don't stay in the pain, but I want you to walk in the lesson. Don't stay in what they said and what they did and how they hurt you and how bad they hurt you. Don't keep telling yourself about that. But you tell yourself, I learned a mighty lesson. You tell yourself, you tell yourself how you can use the things that you learn in that experience. How can you apply this? How can you prevent this? How can you avoid this from happening again? How can you use what you learn and keep this thing from repeating if it's not something that you want to duplicate? If it's not something that's going to take you to the next level? If it's not something that you're going to be happy about, proud about, but you take every lesson that you learn and you use it. Good evening, Lucretta. Thank you so much for joining. You use the lesson that you have been taught. You use the lessons that you learn. And you use the lessons that you bought. Lessons are brought about 3 different ways. They're bought, they're caught, and they're taught. And you have to apply the things that you learn. You have to apply the things that you learn. You leave you leave the pain. And you take the lesson. Because lost is really not a loss when you learn something. It's not a loss when you learn something. Because see, when you learn something, you can take that thing and apply it and multiply it. When you learn something, when you learn a lifelong lesson and you apply that the rest of your life, you don't know how much you're saving yourself. You do not know how much you are saving yourself when you take a lesson and you do not realize how much a lesson and a blessing that is, how much you are saving in your future, on your future, how much you are saving in your generation, in your family, how much time, how much trouble that you are saving when you take lessons that you've learned out of pain. Do you know you learn more when you hurt? I know somebody would probably argue with that. When you think that when you don't really put much focus in the things that you know how to do. You're not learning nothing in the things that you're good at. Did you hear me? You're not really learning anything in the things that you're good at. That's why it's good to be challenged, to not know a thing. It's good for you to run up against something that you don't know how to do. Why? Because there is a space for growth. There's a space to learn. If you know everything, you can do everything. Watch out. Watch out. Because there's always room for improvement. There is always room for improvement. And if you are at a point in your life that you feel like you have learned all you need to learn, you got some learning to do. Speak, woman of God. Thank God for the lessons learned. Those lessons made me stronger and wiser. Yes. When we get to a point, I put a post out there earlier about financial education. I said, if you cannot teach this, or you're not living the life of your dream where you got your finances in order, where you don't need to work another day in your life and you still can live the quality of life that you desire to live without it being a sacrifice or you're settling for less, you need to be on those free financial classes. They're free. And a lot of times I see, and I'm not going to even talk about them classes because that ain't why I got the post out there. But a lot of times I see us say that we want a better, a different life, but we're not doing anything different. We don't want to put in any time. We're not willing to make any sacrifices. We're not willing to take the lesson from the last thing. We're not willing to take the lesson. Do you know that there is a lesson with you living beneath your privilege? There's a lesson in that because you haven't learned who you are. You haven't learned whose you are. We say that we belong to the man. Pie in the sky and all this other stuff that we say. He owned all the cattle on on 1,000 hills and all these different sorts of types of things. Good evening, Nana. Thank you so much for joining. We said we know the man, but we don't live like we know him. We don't live like we know that we are heirs of the Most High King. We don't live like we know that the things that we need are already ours for the getting, right? Take these lessons and apply them. We can take lessons from our lives. You know, I know that there are experiences that you have had where you said, if I had known this. Now, there are some things in your life that you wouldn't trade for the world, because you know why? Because you would not have learned what you learned, and you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. So there's a lot of things in my life I wouldn't do it different. I'll do it just the way it was. But there are some things in my life, if I had known better, I would have done better. If I had been taught, I would have done things a different way. But there are some lessons that I learned things the hard way, and I appreciated it more. Because how many of you know when a lesson is just passed, when somebody give you a grade, what did you learn? When somebody just give it to you, what did you learn? And that's what we mess up with our children. Good evening, Elder Anderson. Thank you so much for joining. That's what we mess up with our children a lot of times. Now, I'm not saying everything got to be a struggle for them and that they got to go through what you went through to get to where you are. But some things need to be taught where they can learn, so that there will be a form and there will be a level of appreciation. Because sometimes when things are just given to us, we don't appreciate it. But I need you to take the lesson and leave the pain. Get your feelings out these things, because this is not about your feelings. A lot of times we put emotions in stuff that shouldn't even have emotions in it. You know, sometimes when you're signing a contract, this ain't got nothing to do with you being saved. This doesn't have anything about your feelings. This got to do with what the disclaimer say. This have to do with the agreement of what you gonna do and what I am gonna do. This got to do with you keeping your word. I'm keeping my word, and we gonna do what's in writing. That's what this have to do with. This don't have anything to do with you being a good person. When you got a contract, you being a good person, don't have nothing to do with it. Baby, we're going to start signing on the dotted line. And what's going to show that you're a good person is you do what you said you're going to do. Because, good persons, we would evaluate a person being a good person when we meet them. Do you know people can be a good person on the day you see them, and they can be a bad person at night? They can be a bad person tomorrow. But I want you to take every lesson. Every lesson. Good evening, Belinda. Thank you so much for joining. I want you to take every lesson that you have learned, every lesson, and leave the pain out of it. See, some of us, we can't learn from what we have gained because we're so busy talking about how bad it hurt us. We're so busy talking about how bad it hurt us, how they did us, and how they did. We keep repeating that. You need to repeat what you learned from what they did. What did you learn from what they said? What did you learn from what you bought? What did you learn from what they taught? What did you learn? Good evening, April. Thank you so much for joining. So if you're just joining in, this is what I'm talking about. I am talking about take the lesson and leave the pain in the stuff that you have been through, the stuff that you are going through, the stuff that you're going to go through. Because when there is a lesson learned, there is no loss. Baby, that was a gain. I learned something. I got new insight. I had revelational knowledge. I know what not to do the next time. I know how to handle this situation. I know how to respond. I know how to make a decision. You got to stop looking at the negative. See, a lot of times somebody would look at this bottle and say that it's half empty, but I can look at it and say that it's half full. You got to change your perspective in what you go through. You got to change your perspective in what you encounter, what you experience. You got to change your perspective because, see, the thing that was trying to destroy you, bring you down, take you out. You got to take that lesson and say, you know what? I'm going to learn from that. I know what the intentions was, but it didn't work. Baby, I learned. I know what the intentions were. See, the intentions was to make me hurt. The intentions was to make me suffer. The intentions was to hurt my feelings, but it didn't work. You take everything that you have been taught. You take everything that you have learned, and you take everything that you bought. You heard me. There was 3 ways to learn lessons. They're taught, they're caught, and they're bought. You take what you have been taught. You take what you have seen and what you have heard. If it's beneficial to you, if it gives you more life. Now listen. Anything that drains you of more life, you leave it. You leave it. If it drains you of more life, if repeating that same story, if it drains you of more life, you leave that. You leave that pain. You leave that pain because you're not learning anything from that. You leave that pain. If it drains you from more life, you always got to think more life, more life, more life. This things give me more life. Being around this person give me more life. Doing this thing give me more life. But on the flip side, if you say every time I'm around them, they get on my last nerve, baby, leave it. If they don't never have anything positive to say, leave that. If they always have something to say about you, leave it. You take the lessons that you have learned, that you have been taught, that you have caught, that you have bought. You take what you have learned and you use it. And you only use that is for your good. You only use that builds you up, that makes you stronger, that gives you more peace, that makes you happier, that brings you more joy. You use that. And if it don't give you more life, you leave it. You don't have to worry about people walking out of your life. You don't have to worry about people not supporting you. You don't have to worry about anything that do not give you more life. Leave it. That should be your motto. If it don't give me more life, it don't bring me more peace, more joy, more happiness, if it don't bring me more love, if it's draining you of anything that you're not willing to give up, you leave it. Are you willing to give up your joy? Are you willing to give up your peace? Is it worth it? Is it worth talking about that thing, that person? Is it worth doing that thing over and over again? I gotta ask you, how does it make you feel? You know, for me, I told myself in at the end of the year, I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. It can be son or daughter. It can be sister, brother. It can be my mother. It can be aunt, uncle, cousin. It can be BFF, boo. I don't care who it is. If it does not bring me more life, I'm leaving it. I'm not doing it. It's not worth it. We have people leaving here in record numbers. We have diagnoses. We have COVID-19. We have pandemics. We have cancer. We have all these other things that's going on. It is too much going on to be dealing with or putting up with any type of foolishness does not bring you more life. It's just that simple. Because, see, you have a lot of people that are here today, gone tomorrow, here today, gone this evening. I have zero tolerance for foolishness in 2021. None. Like zero. So you have to take the lessons and leave the pain. Because, see, some of you are not living more life because you are allowing the things that has happened, you allowing that to worry you every day. You talk about it every day. I had to tell somebody that's divorced, I said, you might as well still be married. What do you mean? You talk about them every day. They might as well be over there in the house with you. You know, you got to leave stuff alone that is no longer serving you. And whatever person or whatever thing that is not serving me, that is bringing me more life, baby, I do not have time for it. No hard feelings. We ain't got to lose no friendship over it. I just ain't dealing with it. I'm just not going to do it. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. We have to take the lesson and leave the pain. Look, I'm getting ready to get out of here. But I am going to say this. I'm going to put this out here at the end. If you are not registered for those free, these are no pitches. These are no sales. You can get on there. You ain't got to talk to nobody. Don't nobody even got to know you on there. Get on there and get the lesson of these financial classes. If you do not have all the money that you want, if you know that you don't know everything that you need to know about how money work and finances and proper protection and all these different sorts of types of things, get yourself on them classes because you are not that busy. I know somebody saying I'm busy and I don't have time. The classes are offered 3 times a day on Thursday. They're doing them every Thursday this month. The times for you that are on Central Standard Time, it is 2 o'clock. 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. 2, 6, and 9. Get on one of those classes. Get you some notes. Take the lessons and leave all the other stuff. No obligations. Free. These classes are being taught by multimillionaire earners. Get the information. Use what you can use and leave what you can't. This is the way you have to approach a lesson. How can I use this? Why should I use this? And when will I use this? How can I use this? Why should I use this? And when can I use this? Don't just keep on learning stuff and you don't have a reason why you're learning it. You don't know when you're going to use it. You don't know how you're going to use it. And you don't even know if you're going to use it. If you're going to learn something, you ask yourself, when can I use this? How can I use this? Why do I even need to use this? And use it. It is time out for us getting shelf knowledge. Well, we get all this stuff. We get books and we put them on the shelf. We never read them. We take notes that we never go back and look at. When are you going to start using the stuff that you get? When are you going to start applying the things that you are being taught, that you are learning, that you're buying? Some of this stuff ain't free. You buying stuff and you ain't using it. When? I want to know. So look, I'm getting ready to get out of here. If you're interested in the financial classes, go on, find it on my page. Ask me for the link. I will inbox it to you. I'm not putting it out on the page because guess what? If you don't make an effort to try to do something, you ain't going to do nothing. I'm sorry, but I'm just being for real. But look, if you're new to me, this is your girl, Coach O. I'm just me. Can't be nobody else. Not going to try. I am the founder and CEO of Action Speaks Volume Incorporated. I am known as your procrastination strategist, behavior change expert. I help you to build unshakable confidence. Stop procrastinating, and you got it. Get your dreams out of your head into your life. It is time for us to get our dreams off the pillow and into our lives. It is time. It's time. So I hope you're ready. I'll talk to you later.